Being a leader comes with challenges. The Leading to Win podcast will help leaders make wise decisions by leading to win. Here's your host, Marty Haynes.
Welcome to Leading to Win, where our goal is to help you become a better leader. And today I have Joanie Winters from Winters Law Firm. She is a staple guest here. And Joanie, it is great to have you today.
Thank you, Marty. Always a pleasure.
Well, the title today is, we hear it's used a lot in a lot of different ways. And we've titled today's, It's a Zoo in Here. And we're going to apply this to the workplace. And that workplace environment has to deal with service animals. So that is a great topic. And I'm sure, different employers have come across this particular issue. That being said, what's the requirement? Can I just decide today I'm going to bring in my donkey?
And that's a great question, Marty, because no, you can't bring your donkey to work. Okay. So unfortunately, a lot of our clients, that's what happens. An employee decides that their dog somehow fits the definition of a service dog or a service animal, and they bring that animal to work. Employers can have requirements. And I think what happens is, Marty brings his dog to work. I don't know what to do about that. That's never happened before. And I don't know how to handle it. I don't know how to tell Marty, you've got to take the dog home. And unfortunately, places like Amazon sell those little blankets that say service animal for $25 online, but that doesn't constitute a service animal. So It's not quite that easy.
Okay. Can it, you repeatedly use the word or animal dog. Can it be anything?
It used to be, it could be anything. So a lot of the legal definitions and requirements for having a service animal fall under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so that's the law. It's been around since 91. It's an old law. And it says that if we have someone who works for us with a disability, if we can provide a reasonable accommodation, then we have to do that. In some circumstances, a service animal is a reasonable accommodation. Prior to 2011 amendments of the ADA, the definition of a service animal was any guide dog, signal dog, or other animal individually trained to do work or perform tasks. And so based on that definition, we had people bringing parrots and monkeys and donkeys to work with them. Yeah. Case in point. So we've got a gentleman who suffers from bipolar disorder, and he alleged that Sadie, who was his parrot, was a service animal because she would sit on his shoulder during the day, during the workday. And when he would be on the verge of a psychotic episode, she would whisper in his ear, calm down, calm down. And then that worked. Okay. And then we've got another woman who suffered from autism. And when she would feel closed in, she had 4 monkeys that she brought to work with her. This is real stuff. I'm not making this up. This is case law. So she would bring these 4 monkeys with her, and she would claim that they calmed her down, just their mere presence. So that was 2011 when the law changed and said, Congress said, wait a minute, this is getting way out of hand. We've got snakes and spiders and, next it'll be bears and lions and who knows. And so the law was rescripted to define a service animal as any dog that's individually trained to do work and perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with a disability. And these animals are specifically trained to handle the disability. They're not just, generic. And so even though dogs are defined as the service animal, recent case law has permitted miniature horses, because apparently they're the same size as some large dogs, and they're very smart, very trainable, and used often with disabilities because somebody who has trouble with mobility, they assist with that and navigation for someone who's blind. So it is just dogs and or miniature horses right now. No more ferrets and snakes.
Great. That comes to mind on something. dogs, and now I'm glad you eliminated snakes, but you know, when you bring those into the workplace, what happens to someone if someone is either allergic, you got an employee that's allergic to the animal, scared to death, because depends on the dog that comes in. I don't know, they may be trained, but you know, what do you run into when it comes to things like that, being allergic or afraid of those kind of animals?
And that's a great question, because there are other individuals who don't like dogs. Just maybe they're not even just afraid, they just don't like animals, or they are afraid, or they are allergic. And so part of your due diligence in determining whether you can provide a reasonable accommodation for the request for this animal includes checking with other staff members with whom this employee with the animal would have interaction. And if that's a no-go, then that accommodation won't work.
Okay.
So I had a client who, the woman was a director of an event center, which meant she met with brides, she met with folks that wanted to have conventions, folks that wanted to have meetings all day long. That was her job. She wanted to have a service animal. She had a disability, and we had to kind of bifurcate her request and say, you can have the animal in your office, but when you're walking around with a bride, because we're not going to send a questionnaire to a bride. You know, are you allergic? Are you afraid? And so when you're walking around with a potential client for this event center, the dog must remain in your office. But then we also polled employees that she came into contact with. And luckily in this case, everyone was fine with it. But if there was one employee who was not, then we're not okay with it.
Right. Okay. Now you use the word service animal. What's the difference? Is there a difference between a service animal and a comfort animal?
Yes, there absolutely is. Service animals, as I said, they are designed to specifically assist with a disability. They feel the sensory, the psychiatric, the intellectual, and so they can feel seizures coming on. They're trained. A comfort dog is just, you know, if you like animals and it's a rainy night, I'm comforted with my little Cocker Spaniel. He curls up on my feet, and that comforts me. I'm fine getting through the day without him, but there are some folks that need some level of comfort with them. When Americans with Disabilities was amended in 2011 to redefine what a service animal is, it specifically excludes emotional support animals. And so they are not covered under ADA, and request for that can be denied without any legal liability to the employer.
Okay. That's interesting, because, you know, you may go into Walmart or go into someplace and people say, well, this is my emotional support animal. So that's totally different.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because we're talking about employment, which falls under Title I of the ADA. Titles 2 and 3 go to public operations, go to whether I can take my service dog into Walmart or into a restaurant. Different rules.
Okay.
Completely, yeah, different.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now, is there a particular responsibility of the service animal or the employee? I mean, I know they're trained. The dog's supposed to be trained. You know, is there a point where things can go on and the employer can go, look, we can't have that dog here?
Yes. So again, to the Marty Haynes who walks in with his dog without any notice, without any discussion, we turn you around and say, we need this. We need the training records of this animal, because service dogs are extremely and heavily trained. It's almost a year's worth of training. And many of them, depending on where they've trained, get a tag to put around their neck. It's a certification.
Right.
If they don't get the tag, they get a piece of paper, just like you and I, when we go to a certification class, we get something.
Right.
That animal has a certification, and the employer has every right to ask for that. Second to that, and very importantly, veterinary records. I want to know that animal's had rabies shots, because God forbid someone walks in and the dog bites a customer of mine. I need to know that dog's had a rabies shot.
Right.
And you can require that on a regular basis. You know, just one and done is not enough. And you also can require something from the physician that states what the purpose of the service animal is, based on the disability. So just like any other reasonable accommodation that somebody would require or request, you can ask for documentation to support that request.
Okay. That's key, because the employers was like, it's all of a sudden somebody walks in with this dog. What do I do? And as an employer, you don't know what you're going to run to every day anyway. So, it's good for them to know, look, if this happens, then, here are some of the steps you need to take care of.
And I will tell you, a dog from the pound is usually not a service animal.
Correct.
These dogs, they are trained as puppies. My husband and I have tickets at the theater, and directly across from us is a woman who has a service dog, and that dog doesn't move unless she moves.
Right.
That dog doesn't bark. That dog doesn't even look at you as you're walking past. But if she gets up or she even moves, that dog is at attention.
Yeah.
So they're very intelligent dogs, and there are people that truly, truly need this service animal.
Yeah.
So employers need to be careful to just don't say no.
Right.
Do what you got.
So to really, with that statement, there has to be a communication between the employee and the employer. And it's just, as long as they communicate and provide the proper documentation, usually there's not an issue. But again, it just depends on, the employee on a given day, and you walk in as an employer and here you got this Great Dane in your office, and you go, what do I do with this dog? So well, good deal. Is there, other than making sure, you got to maybe a doctor's note, certifications, and those sorts of things, you talk with the other employees that's going to be in the area to make sure nobody's allergic to a dog, scared of a dog, or whatever. Is there anything else an employer should really think about?
Yes, and it's kind of a sensitive issue, but it's a realistic issue. Dogs need to go to the bathroom. And you're going to have to establish with this employee where that spot may be, and the fact that employee has to maintain the housekeeping of that area.
Okay.
I think that's important, rather than just the employees walking the dog all over the property, and folks are out on their smoke break or their lunch break or whatever, with the opportunity to step in something. And so it's a human function, it's an animal function, and we need to be cognizant of the fact that it could happen, and we need to make sure the employee knows they're responsible.
Yeah. Okay. And it is probably a topic of more so the insurance side. Employees probably need to understand what their liability on the insurance side is, just in case. I mean, dogs are animals, and crazy things can happen. So there's a lot to think about with an employer and employees, and especially, something like this with service animals. So great conversation. Anything else in closing you want to add?
It never hurts to have a memorandum of understanding between the employer and the employee as to what the responsibilities are of the employee with this dog, and that it's a reasonable accommodation, that is not a forever accommodation, that the employer will review it from time to time. Things like that. Make sure if you do an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding, that it's not contractual in nature, and you've just not diluted your at-will employment with this employee. But you should have some documented expectation.
Okay. Awesome topic. Again, everybody, this is an important topic. I'm sure there's additional questions. We'll have Joanie's phone number is on the screen. Definitely, if there's something she can help you with, definitely reach out to her and give her a call there. Joanie, as always, appreciate your time today and this great wisdom that we just gave out today.
Thank you, Marty. Good conversation, as always.
Good deal. Thank you. Well, everybody else, we hope this information was beneficial to you today. And thank you for joining us on Leading to Win. Have a good day.